A California bill has recently been introduced that will promote installing solar along highways and over parking lots rather than on farmland. A solar panel recycling firm just received an influx of money, and the FVC bank failure may have wide ranging implications for solar installations across the country. I'm Jay Warmke with Blue Rock Station, and this is the news from the solar industry for the week of March 20th. Now, Senate Bill 49 has recently been introduced into the California legislation. It promotes the installation of solar over parking areas and along highways rather than farmland. It's becoming an increasing problem having good farmland being taken up by solar arrays. In fact, from 2001 through 2016, solar arrays took up about 11 million acres of farmland nationwide, and they're anticipating about another 18 million acres being used for solar by the year 2040. Now, it does cost a little bit more to build these arrays over parking lots to form parking. Of course, the structure has to be taller, a bit sturdier. It does represent about a 40% increase in cost over putting them out into the field. But for example, a Walmart parking facility could provide 3.1 megawatts of power. And for instance, someone shopping in Walmart could charge their electric vehicles. In fact, that array will service about 100 electric vehicles. That would add, during a 1-hour shopping trip, about 20 miles of charge to the electric vehicle. Currently, of all of the solar arrays that are installed, the utility solar arrays, about 51% are installed in desert areas, about 33% on farmland, and only about 2.5% are installed in urban areas, of course, where the energy is being used. A group of about 100 organizations have asked the California Public Utilities Commission to delay implementing Net Metering 3.0, which is set to go into effect next month. They claim that this will significantly increase the divide between the haves and the have-nots with solar, making it much more expensive to install. Net Metering 3.0 does dramatically reduce the amount of compensation that a solar owner will receive when they feed power back onto the grid. The PUC is expected to meet on Thursday of this week, that's March 23rd, and we'll see what happens. The Mississippi Public Utilities Commission is testing a innovative behind-the-meter allocation of energy. This is taking place in Jackson, Mississippi, by a company called Allume Energy. They've installed a system called SolShare. What this does is, for instance, in this example, they've installed a large solar array on an apartment building, and then behind the meter, they are allocating the generation amongst the various tenants within the building. Now, this solves a big problem because typically when you have multifamily tenancy, you have to then coordinate with the utility to say, okay, can we allocate production to these various electric bills? Sometimes the utilities are not very supportive of this. So what we're seeing now is that this technology will do that behind the meter so the utility doesn't even have to be involved. So this is a test situation, but if it does work out, we should see this change the way large systems are installed on multifamily buildings. A recycling startup, SolarCycle, has raised $30 million of the $37 million that they were hoping to raise since they've launched in 2021. Now, they're claiming they can recycle about 95% of the content of a solar panel. Most of this content is aluminum, glass, silicon, copper, silver. According to the International Renewable Energy Agency, they estimate that by the year 2050, we should see about 78 million tons of solar waste as these systems that are being installed today are reaching the end of their life. NREL, the National Renewable Energy Labs, estimates that only about 10% of all solar panels are currently recycled, and that's because it currently costs between $20 and $30 to recycle a solar panel versus the $1 to $2 to just pitch it in the landfill. And the Silicon Valley Bank failure that recently has occurred may have wide-ranging implications to the solar industry nationwide. SVC did fund about 62% of all of the nation's community solar projects. From 2020 through 2022, they had financed about $357 million in residential solar. And according to their website, they had allocated about $5 billion for future solar projects. Now, it is anticipated other banks will pick up these projects, assuming, they're creditworthy, but that will take time, and we might see an additional delay in many of the projects. And that's the news from the solar industry for this week. We'll see you next week.